In this episode of Life with Paul M, I talk about 5 key ADHD character traits that used to get in the way of my life way too much on a daily basis. I talk about how I used to be, where I am now, but the important thing is, how did I manage to connect the dots to be in a better place? Whether I talk about procrastination, putting things off, can't be bothered doing things, that was me. Running late. I've been late for everything, you name it, whether it be business meetings, dentist appointments, flights, funerals. I was even late for a court case once. Overthinking. I've actually named my overthinking mind Ernie, believe it or not. And my overthinking mind, 24/7 trying to solve everything before it happened, it led to insomnia. It also led to anxiety, not very pleasant. Impulsive decision making and risk taking. That's another interesting topic that I've managed to get much better on top of. But misplacing things, this is still a tricky one for me. You know, keys, passports, bank cards, you name it. Who moved it? I didn't. So if this episode talks to you, tune in on Life with Paul M. If this is your first time watching Life with Paul M, then a big thank you for giving your time up to tune in. And if you are a regular viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and thank you for all of your support. Life with Paul M is a channel where I guess you could say I want to be vulnerable. You know, I'm open to being vulnerable, shall I say, because that's where the growth happens. You know, I want to put a positive spin on any given moment in life as much as possible. I've suffered with depression, anxiety. Like I say, obviously I've got ADHD, I've had successful businesses, I've had failure of businesses, I've gone through divorce, insomnia, overthinking mind, you name it, I've pretty much been there. But for me, life is not just about growing through the ups of life, it's learning through the lessons on the downtimes to help us get greater perspective, live a life of gratitude, because that's what helps get you through the dark days, or it does for me anyway. I want to bring hope to other people that might be having a difficult moment, and maybe I reach you at the right time. I want to bring a community of positive energy. That's what I want to bring together. So thank you for tuning in. Do you often feel that your mind is racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour and you've got so many things to do, yet no time to do anything? And even if you're going to start, where do you start? Well, don't worry, you're not alone, because that's me as well. But what I've realized over the last 3 years of being ADHD and neurodivergent is I didn't need to fix myself. I just needed to understand myself more, but also be honest, look within, treat myself with accountability, but then also create new systems, new better habits, so we can turn this superpower of our brain that we've got, but get it to work better for us in the areas that hold us back in life. Don't get me wrong, every day is still a challenge for me, but consistently, internally, I'm working at a better score, you could say, than I used to. So on this episode of Life with Paul M, I want to share 5 of my character traits that used to really hamper me and get in the way of my life too much. I want to share with what I used to be like, what I'm like now, but how I put the pieces to the jigsaw puzzle together. All right, the first character trait of me being ADHD that has got in the way of my life too much, which I've now thankfully got better, is procrastination. I'm sure that brings a smile to many people's faces, because it's one of those things, we can't get away from it, but it is us. But it doesn't have to be the same level of procrastination that we might be today. We could be better tomorrow. So for me, what did I used to be like? Well, I think it's things that we're not particularly excited to do. It's things that we don't put enough value on. It could be work. It could be doing that email. It could be tidying the house. That's for me. It could be going through clutter and boxes after moving house. That's me. It could be a million things. What do we put off? Let me know in the comments, what do you procrastinate with most? A good friend of mine, Richard, said, why do today what we can do tomorrow? And it's true in a way, because we have to be kind to ourselves. We're not military that we have to get everything done. But on the flip side, if we don't grab the bull by the horns, we won't get anything done ever, or it'll take us a while to get it done. So how have I got better at procrastination? There's a really good book called The Chimp Paradox, and it talks about just doing a small little chunk. You know, one of my old bosses, Johnny Rose, he used to say, how do you eat an elephant? Sounded a bit cheesy at the time. It didn't make sense to me, really. But the answer was in bite-sized chunks. Not that any of us are going to eat elephants. Listen to that one. And I guess the point of the story is we look at something and it overfaces us, doesn't it? We're here and getting that task done is here. We can't be bothered, so we don't even start it. If we're lucky, we start it and give up. But in general, we don't even start it. We have those big to-do lists. Who has to-do lists? I used to have them coming out my ears. Not anymore. I have some notes, but not huge to-do lists. So for me, this book, The Chimp Paradox, talks about doing tiny little bits. So let's say it's washing up the dishes. Just wash up one or two. Let's say it's picking up some of the clothes that's hanging around in your house. Just pick up one or two. Let's say it's doing one or two, some emails. Just do the first email. Let's say it's you're going to the gym or you're going for a walk, you're doing some exercise, you can't be bothered. It's a case of just do a tiny bit. If you do a tiny bit of a chore or a task or a job that you can't really be bothered doing, guess what? You'll do that much, but you'll do more. And then guess what happens after that? The payback is, not only have you got something done, but you feel better about yourself. We all want to feel better about ourselves. So for me, that's a great thing, is start small. Also, another thing is reward yourself. Yeah, whatever that little reward might be. You might get to have a minute playing on your phone. It might be having, a chocolate bar. It might be a cup of tea. It might be watching a bit of TV. It doesn't matter what it is. Give yourself a little reward, but set yourself a target that you've got to do that, and then you get a small reward, and then that's the task done, or you go back for more. So that's number one, procrastination. Number two, running late for things. Some of you might actually be super early, because sometimes you can be either super early or super late. I was super late, whereas my dad used to call me Mr. Manana for always putting things off, bless him. Being late has been possibly my biggest thorn in my backside over the years. I've been late for everything, whether it be dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, business meetings, even flights. I got to the airport once and I ran as fast as I could, and I got to the check-in desk just before it was literally closing. I felt so proud of myself, sweating like a madman, and I got there realising I'd forgotten my passport. I wasn't getting on the flight. Had to come back the next day. I've even been late for a court case. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, I had to go to court. Can't really remember what it was for. Anyway, I'm running late for a court case. And this is me in my head. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to call the court up just to let them know I'm running late. And maybe they can just delay things a little bit. As if a court, yes, they might say thanks for getting in touch. As if they're going to delay a court case for me because I'm running late. And he said, oh, it's okay, Mr. McCabe, you don't need to rush because you're a week late. It was this time last week. I'm like, what? Yeah, you name it, late, middle name, another middle name of mine. How have I got better at this? The school run, rushing, dropping your kid off at school. But what I realised was I wasn't putting enough value for being on time or early, because every time I was running late, it releases anxiety. Who else struggles with running late? And what does that feeling feel like when you are chasing time, where every traffic light goes on red and you're beating yourself up, you're hating yourself, you think, oh, if I was only 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes earlier, coulda, woulda, shoulda, doesn't pay the bills. So for me, I started putting value on it. I knew that if I started my day in the morning running late for work, or running late for a meeting, or running late for the drop-off school run for my beautiful girl Estella, it would create huge anxiety, and it would start my day on a real negative that might take me hours to get out of, if at all. So I thought, okay, let's start using your brain here a little bit. Is it worth feeling like that just to get off your backside and be better with your time management? Because the thing with ADHD as well is that a lot of us are time blind. Is if you say to me, Paul, okay, you need to do that, I'll say, yeah, it'll take 5 minutes. You know, it might take 12 minutes. If I guess something's going to take 7 minutes, it's probably going to take 15 minutes. So it's almost we don't judge time very well. So that's for me for lateness. But what I'll say now is, I get it right, I reckon, at least 85% of the time. And the feel-good factor I get from it is great. And I can now notice other people that are running late and stressing and running and this. And I'm like, I smile, I say, yep, I know exactly how you feel. But for me, changing from running late to now being early or on time would have been incredibly impossible to think of years ago. But now it becomes a habit. Our habits, we become our habits, or our habits become us, whichever way you want to look at it. But we can rewire our brain if we put value on that change. Number 3, overthinking mind. First thing to do is breathe. It slows down the mind, it slows down the nervous system. But I've always been a fast thinker, and it's a great trait, it's a great quality to have to a point. When it starts going in overload, and a great example is my fitness brand Pulse Roll. I had this fitness brand for 8 years, and I lived and breathed it. I absolutely loved it. You know, many of my life vices and passions that were healthy and unhealthy, I kind of traded them in for this business because I found something that was my true calling that I loved with a passion, and I could go and go and go and go and go. However, my mind was overthinking. At one stage, I had about 25, 30 staff. And I'm doing the thinking for 25 people. Imagine just thinking for yourself. Then imagine trying to think 25 times that. It gives me a headache thinking about it now. But you're thinking about staff, you know, what mood are they in? What baggage are they bringing from home into their working life? How are they working? You know, what problems have they got? How can I help them? How can I be a better boss, manager, leader? Thinking about challenges that are coming up for them in the future, and maybe how we fix them before they even happen. So it's great to problem solve, and it's great to have plan A, B, C up your sleeve just in case. But I would have plan A, B, C all the way down to Z. You know, so my mind was overthinking, so I had terrible insomnia. I couldn't sleep, which creates anxiety. Then if you're not sleeping, you're tired the next day. Creates anxiety, hits your nervous system. You can't be at your best because you're tired. You're a bit snappy. You're a bit short-tempered. And I think a lot of this comes into the overthinking mind. You know, I used to wake up 4 or 5 times a night. Literally every 20 minutes, 40 minutes, I'd wake up, whether I needed, you know, to go to the toilet. But I'd be awake and my mind would just be, and then I could be awake for hours. And I know it's a very lonely place to have insomnia, and, you know, some of you will have that as well. It's not a nice place to be. I tried everything and nothing helped in reality. Yes, a cool room can help, very dark room can help. Get your phone out of the way can help. Don't look at your phone for the time. If you wake up in the middle of the night, can help because it triggers your mind. But for me, it was more a case of what changed it was a different perspective. Understanding that I can't control all of the uncontrollables in life, because so many areas of my life were so important, personal life, business life. I'm trying to control everything and come up with contingency plans and solutions for anything and everything that might happen. You can't control everything. It's impossible. And I started to make peace with that, because I also realised is I've got 4 or 5 big things going on at the minute, and they'll take time to play out. And however they play out, as scary as it is, I can't do anything to influence those things at all. I've done my bit. So I've just got to hang on. But I could be overthinking, day, night, anxiety and everything, trying to fix them, can't change these situations. So I've made more peace of it. And as crazy as it sounds, I've started digging deep into having faith and belief, whether you've got faith in up above, in yourself, in the universe, with your religious beliefs. It doesn't matter where your faith and belief is. But if you stick to that, you can pray. Pray to yourself. Pray to the trees, pray to God, pray to the universe, don't matter. So you can pray, and you can have that inner belief. And wherever it's going to go, it's going to go. My point to this long story is, wherever it goes, good or not so good, you couldn't have done anything different to control it. Yet you could have lived it 24 hours a day for days, weeks, months, or even years, wasted all that energy, wasted so much of your life, and still got to the same end point. So I had to realise to let go. Difficult one for our brains, to let go. Nowadays, I often don't wake up once at all in the night. I don't go for one single toilet break, because a lot of times anxiety creates that you need to go to the toilet for a pee. So I don't wake up now. How's my bladder and everything changed? It hasn't. It's this that's changed. And if I do wake up, again, I won't check the time. That's a huge rule that I've got. I won't mess around on my phone. But what I do is I breathe, maybe try breathing techniques, in for 4, hold for 7, out for 8, this type of stuff. Maybe I go into a little gratitude prayer. Maybe sometimes I'll go and get something to eat, piece of toast, go back to bed, but I'll let my mind relax. I won't try and fight and win a battle that's unwinnable. And guess what? If we worry about 10 things in life, we all know that probably 8 of them will never ever happen. Okay? 1 might happen, but we find a fix. And 1 out of the 10 might happen, and it's not the solution, it's not the outcome that we wanted, but we find a way to survive because we're humans, and ultimately it probably ain't the end of the world. So you spend so much of your energy worrying about 10% of the time that might well happen, but we waste 90% of our energy on stuff that doesn't happen or we find a fix. So for me, overthinking, slowing down the mind, it's probably been the biggest change to my nervous system and life in terms of character traits from ADHD. Number 4, impulsive decisions and risk taking. I'm going to roll this into one. So for me, this is, with my ADHD brain, excuse me, is, they say trust your gut instinct. What I realised with my brain was my gut instinct, or maybe it was my brain taking over, wasn't always giving me the best decision and the best choice. So when I realised I had ADHD and realised I needed to understand and operate differently for different and better outcomes, is I've almost put a bit of a handbrake on my decision making. So if something happens or there's an opportunity to do something, I tend to think it, but before I necessarily say it or action it, I question myself and think, right, is that the best decision? Is that the right risk reward of life? And I probably catch now 50% of my poor decisions. So I'm already 50% better off than where I was. So it's almost double checking yourself. And again, you can get into that routine. How was I in terms of risk taking? Well, there'll be some I can talk about and some I probably can't talk about in today's episode. But let's look on the business thing. Was on my business, anything that came my way, whether it's a new staff member that I thought was great, or a business opportunity, a partnership, that I thought was great, I was grabbing everything. Imagine running around a sweet shop and filling a basket with everything because everything smells and looks tasty. Yeah, you've got to laugh, haven't you? But if you put all of those sweets in the basket and you eat them too quick, teeth are going to fall out, you're going to be sick, you're going to have a big belly and not very healthy, and probably diabetes. So it's not necessarily the best decision. It was like that for me with staff. I was trying to grow like this, whereas what I needed to do was do it the boring, wholesome, more calculated way. Grow, stabilize, grow, stabilize, little dip, stabilize, grow, grow. Well, I just tried to go like this. I just thought life is about risk reward. You've got one chance in life, go for it. And all of that is true. Life is about risk reward. If you don't make any decisions and never take any risks, guess what? You'll have the same life as you have today. That's for some, that's not for me. But I realised I need to pull in some of my decision making. Other things as well, risks. Probably my behaviour, my attitude with alcohol and partying. Again, I'm all in. I'm all in on life. And I'm always going to be all in life. But what I've done is I've kind of moved that direction a bit from there into that direction. So what I'm doing now is more that's going to serve me, it's going to enrich me, it's going to help me become a better version of me, rather than stuff that's type thing. Stuff that might be a lot of fun if it works out, And even if it does work out, not necessarily going to serve me on the down of it. So just making a few more decisions. Does that mean I'm a bit more boring? Well, compared to probably how I was, yeah, but I'm just a bit more calculated. But I'm really happy and content where I was, and I'm glad I did all of that risk-taking and crazy lifestyle, because I don't have those itches, those scratches to itch anymore. I've done it. So sometimes in life, again, you only know what you want after doing things that maybe you don't want or don't serve you. So no regrets, just learn from things. So for me now, impulse decisions and risk taking got much better. But I still do talk a lot, I get that. Interrupt people so much. Terrible habit. I don't know what's blown in the camera there, is it a spider web? Interrupt people, partly because when somebody would be saying something, I've processed what they're saying at 50-60% of what they've said, and I'm giving them a reply and I'm moving the conversation on. That's because my brain's processed that. However, people want to speak. People want to be heard. They might need to hear their own voice to work their own stuff out. So again, breathe, count to 5, count to 10, wait till a pause, and then maybe speak. But the interesting thing also with conversation is it's like playing tennis. You hit the ball over to each other. You don't hit the ball over there and people don't hit it back to you or hit it back to somewhere else. Conversation is about a flowing conversation, and our conversation doesn't always have to be about us or our habits or our experience. It might not be our conversation or our topic. You know, if somebody says something, how about digging a little bit deeper, another level? Show genuine interest. Let them say a bit more. Dig in a little bit more. You know, they say the best conversationalists are the best listeners. So yeah, don't react and don't talk so much without thinking and breathing and processing before you make your decision. The next one, number 5, this is something that still is an interesting challenge for me every day, and I'll let you know why I'm smiling in a minute. Misplacing things. I don't say losing things, because me personally, I don't know about yourself. Do you often lose things or misplace things? Let me know in the comments. I very rarely lose things, but I misplace a lot of things, and sometimes I might misplace things for a few minutes, days, weeks, probably even years at times, and then I find them. I've got one theory to this as well, is I believe the spirit world, and particularly my dad, is often moving things to play little games on me, but also to let me know that he's there. Because I don't know about some of you guys, but do you often look everywhere for something, and then a little bit later on in the day or another day in the week or whatever else, you find it and it was there? How does this happen? I believe it comes from up above, because sometimes it just can't be explained. So misplacing things, geez, what have I misplaced over the years? Passports, car keys used to be a huge daily mission for the school run. Oh my God, the stress from the school run. I can't find the car keys. I can't even get out of the house. Even the other day, I couldn't find the house key to let my daughter in. I was going to have to let her in through the back door. Then I found it. Bank cards. Who else struggles with misplacing / losing bank cards? That's a big one for me. I've actually only just cancelled a bank card only a few days ago, and I'm waiting for the new one to come. But I know that once I get the new one, I'll find the old one. Normally I find things like a bank card about 5 seconds or 5 minutes after I've cancelled it. What else do I misplace? Because we put things often that are really important into really safe places that we can't remember. Sometimes if I go away on holiday, you're on holiday for a week or 2 weeks, I hide maybe my car keys or maybe other valuables, and guess what? Come back after a week or two, I ain't got a clue where they are. So misplacing things is huge. How have I got better with this? So for example, with the keys now and my bank cards, and it's not foolproof, I have a place where they live. So when I come in, the bank cards live there and the car keys, house keys live there, and I get it right probably 80% of the time now. So if you've got a go-to place, it's better than a needle in a haystack. So for me, that's been a huge area that I'll always be working on. Yeah, misplacing. That's one for me to keep going. So I think that's all I'm probably going to share. This episode's gone on way longer than I thought. Anybody that's made it through to the end, a huge thank you. Honestly, thank you for putting up with me. I film all of these in one go. I often forget about things that I've said, that wanted to say, so I'll normally put them up on the screen. I bumble through my words at times, but thank you. I want to keep it real, authentic, and me. I can't be anything but me, and even then I struggle to be me. I'm all about self-development. I'm all about putting myself in the uncomfortable zone to be able to grow from it, leaning into our fears, as I was chatting with a pal today in the gym. Please let me know what you've thought of this video. It would help me immensely, and I'd appreciate it hugely with any likes or any comments, or if you subscribe, because the way YouTube works is the more interaction I get on my videos, the more it will push me out to other people. So the difference between 50 people and a dog watching this video, or 10,000 people and 2 dogs watching this video, might just be getting an extra few comments, an extra few likes. So thank you for all your support. And ADHD, being neurodivergent, being autistic, anything on the spectrum is a huge, huge superpower. It means your brain goes boom. And if you can harness that power into something that you enjoy, that is wholesome, that is rewarding, then you've cracked it in many ways of life. And then if you can put in place a few systems for the areas that we're not as naturally keen at doing or as good at doing, little butterfly there, I think that's my mum, come to say hello. We can work on that. That will help us. And it doesn't matter what we do in life. I put on social media the other day, one of the biggest metrics of how I judge somebody's life is, yes, the car, yes, the house, yes, the holiday, yes, the six-pack, yes, the muscles, yes, the good looks. They're all nice to have, whatever. Go for it. Be ambitious in life. Chase everything, but not at any cost. For me, the biggest metric, or one of the biggest metrics of success in life, is being a good person. How will you be remembered when you're gone? Who's going to miss you? Who's going to talk about you? Who's going to smile and laugh when they talk about you? Who's going to feel fondly about you and connect with you? How are we remembered is how I think a lot of success of life is about. And also, how many people did you have a positive impact on? How many people's lives did you touch, whether it was long term or just for one conversation, and they walked away from that moment feeling better, that somebody had listened, somebody had cared, somebody had shown a bit of support, a bit of empathy. So for me, being a good person and helping others is right up there with the most important things of life. This is Life with Paul M. Thank you so much. There'll be shorts that go on. I've got my own Instagram channel, Life with Paul M. That's me for done for now. Namaste. Have a great day.